personality. I'm very direct in my approach. I'm not salesy.
Right.
Typically, like if I'm doing an event out here in the city of Houston, it's usually when I open up my mouth and start speaking, because that is one of my strong suits.
Hey, what's going down? Welcome to another episode of the Connections Hub podcast, where we connect you to everything business related. Now, I'm super excited for this episode because I'm actually sitting here with Javonne. Now, I'm not going to take away from her thunder, so I'm going to let her introduce herself and what it is that she do. So go ahead and take it over.
What's up, everybody? I am Javonne Steward-Wallace, founder of No Excuse Today, an educational consulting company teaching others how to push past adversity without making excuses.
Yeah. It's so funny because No Excuse Today. That's such an interesting name for a brand. So how did that come about, or where did it come from?
Well, let me give you the short version of it. So I enrolled to be part of a speakers academy, Jeremy Anderson Speakers Academy, and one of the questions that he asks you when he gets on the one-on-one with you is, what do you want to be known for? And so I thought about it, and I came up with No Excuse Today, because that is truly how I lead my life. I grew up in foster care, and so there's a lot of statistics and stigmas around foster kids, and I just decided that I wasn't going to be that, and I don't make excuses. So that's what I wanted to be known for, not making excuses. Amongst other things, but yes, No Excuse Today. That's how it actually came about.
No, and it's funny because that's such a first of all, that's such an amazing journey. I mean, to go from being in foster care to now just building this brand, but also not letting it define you by not having no excuse at all, no excuse tomorrow, no excuse next week, but definitely no excuse today. So that's good. But it's way bigger than a brand, and we were kind of talking about this a little bit off camera, because every time anybody sees you, we're going to see the hat, we're going to see the shirt. If you got hubby with you, he going to be dressed down in it. So we always see the apparel, but kind of how you were telling me, it's way bigger than just apparel. So kind of give me a little bit of background of what does it really entail?
So like I mentioned earlier in the intro, we are an educational consulting company teaching people how to push past adversity without making excuses. So No Excuse Today really it's catapulting my speaking career. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and a consultant. And when I say consultant, I'm a DISC consultant. I'm certified in DISC, and I'm all about personality types and behaviors, and that's my jam, and I love it.
Wait, what's DISC? Go ahead, give us a little bit of background. What's DISC exactly?
So DISC is a personal behavioral assessment which tells you how you prefer to show up to the world. And so how you prefer to make decisions, how you prefer to interact with people, how you prefer to have your environment, and how you prefer to follow rules, protocols, and procedures. And so I love everything. So it's a self-awareness tool. So that's what DISC is.
So basically, are you telling me it's a certain reason why and a certain reason of the way we do things?
Yes, there is a way in which we do things and a way in which we behave, and I'm obsessed with why people behave the way they do, and that DISC is the cheat code for life, the cheat code to relationships, the cheat code pretty much to everything if you want to know how to navigate throughout the world, in my opinion.
No, that's actually interesting. So how does it exactly work, or how does it help out? Do we just kind of take something online, or how do we figure out our scores?
So it's an assessment that you have to get through somebody who's actually certified. But what it does, it just depends on which one you get. The one I provide is a 22-page report that you type in some information, it kicks you back a report, and it goes straight to your email. But it's a tool to help you to strengthen your leadership skills, a tool to help you better your communication, to increase your productivity. So it's a all-around tool. Like corporate America uses it a lot. The everyday person is not privy to it or not aware to it. And so that's where I come in at, because I think people could use an assessment like this to help them in their parenting, which is one of the reasons why I became interested in it, because I was wanting to be a better parent. And so I figured if I could learn more about myself, learn more about my children, then, I could be a better parent for them. So, yeah.
No, and it's funny because when it comes to the assessment and just kind of taking it and everything like that, where should somebody expect, like, is it a common place where, oh, if you get this score, that means you pass or you fail, or is it all different?
it's not a pass or a fail. It's just, again, it's an assessment that tells you about your preferences, and it's not a right or wrong. It's just like, if you ever wonder, like, I'll give you an example. I've always been very demanding and like in your face, bold, and
I can't see that. You know,
you said you can't see
I
that?
don't see you. You're always so happy and giddy with me.
I know. See, don't let this happiness smile fool you, okay? Do not get it twisted. When you work with me, like, people who work with me closely know that I'm very kind of sister soldier like, and a lot of people don't see that via social media. But long time ago, I used to get in trouble a lot. I had a really, really poor attitude, and I used to get a lot in trouble with my senior leaders, and they would ask, why do you act like, why do you behave like this? And had I known that the way I am, how demanding, how commanding I am, that is a strength of mine. I just had to learn how to, you know, with time and maturity, learn how to tailor that. And so so I am what you would call a high D. So I'm very assertive. I don't hold back. I say how I feel. I don't beat around the bush. I'm straight to the point. Sometimes it may rub people the wrong way a little bit, but that's my superpower. That's my strength. Because some people, they need assertive people like me on their team, who is not afraid to speak up, who is not afraid to lead and take charge. And so that is predominantly my personality style.
Like the leadership role, the very like.
Yeah, and all of them, any of the D's, the I's, the S's or C's, anybody could be in a leadership role. I believe that we're all leaders, but there are just some who are more outspoken, who are more, you know, like in your face. I'm the one who's like more in your face, who's not afraid of challenges, who's not afraid to speak their mind. So that would be me. And had I had an assessment, like had I known that, because assessment has been around for years, like well beyond us being born, but you don't get access to it. Like I said, a lot of people in corporate America, and I come from corporate America, and so that's how I'm familiar with it. But yeah, the assessment has been here, and it'll help you. It like really help you to see how and why people do the things that they do. So it helps you to empathize more with people, and like, it's the cheat code to life. Like when I go in networking events, I'm like studying people, and I know how to approach and talk and tailor, like who I can be rah-rah with, who I have to, tone down for. So it's a lot of that self-awareness piece is very crucial, and I'm really like, I'm fanatic about it.
No, I can tell. I can tell. So, you mentioned that you were in corporate America. So, how did going from corporate America and this become something that you're doing full time now, right?
Yes, I am now full time. Well, corporate America give you the boot when they don't need you no more, child. So that's pretty much what happened. I gave myself a 5-year plan back in 2015. I was like, okay, you gotta come up with something. So, No Excuse Today is not my first business I had, and not my first brand, actually. Wow. A lot of people who are familiar with me know of me as Princess Javonne. That was actually my very first children's book. So keep in mind, everything that I do is centered around the family. So children is always going to be involved. So where you see No Excuse Today, there's a No Excuse Today children's book coming out too. So be on the lookout for that. It's coming in July.
Yes. Quick plug.
Yes. But everything I do is pretty much centered with the whole family in mind. So corporate America, with any job, there's no guarantee. And when they say it's time to go, it's time to go. And so luckily, I have a very supportive husband who's like, go ahead, you need to go full, like go ham on your dreams. And like I believe in you, let's get it. So that's how I'm full time. Wow, that's what's And luckily I had a plan. Like I was doing it, like my corporate job was financing my dream.
Wow. So how did you do that? Hold up, boy. Don't slide over that. How did you do that? How was it financing your dreams?
So you know how they say you work your job and you have your side hustle. You stack and you put away and you work on your dream while you still have your job. And so part of my money was going to fund books, going to fund the merch, going to fund all of these things, even in the past with my first children's book. And there was another brand that I have, Pillow Thingy.
How many brands you got?
Well, see, here's the thing. Some of these brands have pins in them, and I just had to figure out which one I was going to lead with.
Right.
And so No Excuse Today is actually the one I said, which one is going to actually help me to get to my goals faster. So although Pillow Thingy is like, I flipping love that. Like when the world sees that, they're like, oh my goodness. But I had to put a pin in it because it's so much bigger than like I need a whole machine, a whole team behind me to help me to like really push that forward. So I decided No Excuse Today was something that I could do that could accelerate me to get me to my goals a little faster.
No, and it's funny you realizing that early on.
Yeah.
Was that something you were coached in? You just kind of had to sit back and have a moment with yourself? How did you come to that realization?
I'm going to say that sitting in the morning meetup, shout out to David Shan's morning meetup, he would always say, you got to pick one. You got to pick one. And it's so frustrating to hear that, especially when you are like multifaceted, multi-talented. But as much as I hated to hear it, I did have to pick one. You have to really pick one thing. I've learned in that group while reading books that there is no such thing as multitasking. So you can't really devote your all to 5 different projects and think that they're all going to be successful. Right. So you really have to choose one. So sometimes we get it twisted. Like we may see somebody like a Candy Burris, right? She's been in the industry for a very long time, but she focused on one thing in which we knew her for her music, especially when back in the 90s. So she focused on that. Then she moved into writing and producing and stuff like that, and then started doing those other projects. But it was the singing, that vehicle, that kind of got her to all these other different projects. And so sometimes when, regular everyday people, which I'm not regular every day, but regular everyday people
trying to say everybody else. Look.
Y'all shouldn't be regular everyday people, but what regular everyday people do is we see people like Candy, we see like these celebrities and think like, oh, we can do what they're doing, but really they have a discipline. And you have to figure out what that discipline is going to be, focus on that, and when you master that, then you could branch out into those other things. So Pillow Thingy, Princess Javonne, which is a whole nother beast in itself, like those have pins in them because I'm going to get back to them one day, but I need the capital and the funds to do that.
Exactly. And I like how you said, I'm going to get back to them. They got pins in them. So you didn't drop them. It ain't like they gone. They have a pin in them and you just waiting to get back to them, which touching on that. I wanted to ask, so you started out with the apparel. So we always see the No Excuse Today apparel. You got the shirts, you got the hats, you got everything. So tell me, how is this apparel leading to the actual business with the consulting and the this? So how does all this work?
So that's interesting you ask. So in the Next Level Speakers Academy, hosted by Jeremy Anderson. When I first came into the academy, he has these modules, right? And so it was one module in particular, module 8, okay?
You remember that. Look, module 8, if y'all get it.
And it was saying that schools have budgets for T-shirts. And so immediately in my creative mind, I was like, yo, that's how I'm going to start. So most people in the academy have their names branded, Bobby Sue or Jimmy John. So I decided when he asked me, what do you want to be known for? No Excuse Today. That was the brand I wanted to lead with, right? So I didn't want to brand Javonne Stewart at the time before I got married. Javonne Stewart. I wanted to brand No Excuse Today. And so that's actually how the apparel came about. So I was thinking, like, I put these on T-shirts. I can go pitch these to schools and let them know, because schools have things called titles. They have funds for spirit wear. And I was thinking like, yo, I could put No Excuse Today on there. I can come into the schools, talk to the kids about No Excuse Today, tell my story about how I grew up in foster care. Like that's the whole market.
That was the whole plan. You running a play.
Yes. God. And so many people thought, oh, this is an apparel company. And sometimes you can get, like, if you don't stay focused, like if you don't go back and revisit your goals that you wrote down on paper, you can get lost in the sauce. And for a minute, I had got lost. I was like, wait a minute, I am not an apparel company. I am not. Not to say that No Excuse Today won't be an apparel, like there won't be a division, but for right now, the focus is consulting, and the the merch, the accessories, those are byproducts to help me to spread the message, the No Excuse Today message.
Right. And within starting the apparel, so is the apparel something that you lead someone to, or how do you make the transition if somebody else was looking to maybe lead with apparel or a product and then to their actual service?
So I guess because mine kind of work hand in hand. So like if you go to my website, noexcusetoday.com, I'm immediately telling you what the company is about and what services we offer, but there's also a shop tab. I think you just have to really spend time figuring out how you're going to brand and how you're going to market. And mix the two. It is very, it's taken me No Excuse Today is 2 years in June 22. So, it was late May, early June. So this is the 2-year anniversary, and it's taken that long for me to really figure it out. And I'll probably be revamping and remixing it as time comes along as well. So you just got to do it and figure it out along the way, because that's literally what I have been doing.
No, that's what we all do as entrepreneurs, business owners, just jumping out of limb and figuring it out sometime.
Yes.
It takes that. You mentioned marketing and figuring it out. Do you have a marketing budget, or is that something that you equate to every month?
So a marketing budget, no, I don't. I can't sit here and tell you that I do. It's just like I figure it out along the way. Eventually I will, because I'm not at the status yet where I have these budgets and where I have a big old team. And so right now it's just me, my husband, my kids who help out.
That's what, the team. That sounds like a team to me.
Yes, and but eventually it will get there, but I'm not there yet.
No, that sounds like a major team. The first players of the team.
Yes.
Within your brand, and one of the things that I really respect about your brand is, one, it's always growing. You always repping the brand. But something that I've also noticed is I always see different influential people in your brand.
Yeah.
Like I see people on podcasts, different influencers online, coaches, speakers, and people like that. How are you getting them in your brand without a marketing budget, and just like, how are you doing this?
It's the relationship piece, going back to that disc. I'm trying to tell y'all that disc is the hack. You know what I'm saying?
Take the disc test. Take the test.
You take that disc assessment. You can book a one-on-one with me. The link is right in my Instagram bio, which I'm sure we're going to get to toward the end. But it's that disc assessment. And when I tell you I am like personality obsessed, like I really am, because that's very, very important to me. Even in corporate America, they used to laugh at me because I make it my business to know the personality, style, and type of a person who I'm working with.
So wait, give me this. So personality, style, and type. So for instance, let's say, what do you mean by that? Tell me my personality, style, and type.
So I can't, I'm not a psychic now, but
now I'm interested.
But from what I know of you, just in my few interactions, I'm assuming that you are most definitely a high D, just in by your decision making. You make quick, fast. It's like it don't take you all day to make decisions. That's one of the personality styles of a D. They make quick decisions. Even if they made the wrong decision, they'll make another quick decision, and until they make the right decision. Right. And so that's what I pick up from you. Also, you seem to be detailed oriented, so I want to say that you're probably a high C as well, but I'm not sure.
What you mean by C's, D's, and you mixing me up? D, C.
So the acronym is DISC. Okay, so D stands for dominant, I stands for interactive or influential. It just depends on which assessment that you're reading. S stands for stability, and C stands for cautious or conscientious. So it just depends on which assessment that you're reading. So like going back to D's. D's is based on your preference for making decisions and solving problems. I's is your preference for dealing with people. So you have high I's, who is like, they love to be around people. They are very lively. They can, get in, and the party starts when they get, when they get on the scene. Low I's are very introspective people who kind of sit back and watch, and this is when they meet new people. Okay, right. So this is all, and with D's is when they meet new problems or they have new decisions to make. S is, again, with your environment, how you prefer your environment. Some people like a chaotic environment. That's me. I'm a low S, right? Chaos is my friend. Like I don't get stressed out when it's busy. I actually love acting because that's when like the pressure's on and I can think and make rapid decisions quickly like that. High S's are people who they like to know what's coming. They don't like to be surprised. They they're kind of predictable. That's how they like their environments. And then high C's would be people who are very perfectionists. They like to cross them T's and dot those I's. They notice everything. The other day, my high C came out. See, something that you posted. I don't know if you saw a comment. I was like, oh man, it would have been more effective if they would have spelled that right. So high C's really care about rules and following the rules and not breaking the rules. And low C's are like, I don't care about the rules. Let's get it. I make my own rules. I'm a trailblazer. So when you study personality styles, right, and I know how to approach them based on, so I know how to communicate with them, and I know how to reach and touch them. So you may have seen like some influencers in my merch. Like I'll just give a recent example. Sorry, Wall Street, but because to me, I already know he's a high D, but that's just me assuming. I don't know. And with him, you have to be very direct. That's the other things with high Ds. You have to be very direct. I just approached him. I was at a conference, and I just approached him, and he was talking to somebody that I knew. Shout out to Jose, featuring Jose. And I was making a sale with Jose, and I was like, yo, you should get yours too. And he was like, you know what, because you stay ready. And that was my first time meeting him. And he purchased merch for me right there on the spot. I was like, you about to go? Because I know how he comes in and he moves out. This is from me seeing him at other events. So I know he quick with it. Like he don't really like to stay. I mean, he does stay and he talks to the people, he take his pictures, but he in and out. And he actually waited for me. Shout out to you, Wall Street. I appreciate
That's
you.
What's up. That's what's up. But knowing that has gotten, like, I see a lot of different people just in the gear online. So just knowing that and being able to it's almost like they're buying from you. You know how usually you have to kind of pay them, or people pay different people to be in their brand. They're paying you to be in the brand.
It's because my personality, I'm very direct in my approach. I'm not salesy. Typically, like if I'm doing an event out here in the city of Houston, it's usually when I open up my mouth and start speaking, because that is one of my strong suits. It sells itself. I don't have to really sell anything, but like if I want somebody influential, I'm taking a direct approach and I'm going to them head on. Hey, yo, you need to rock this merch.
Simple as that. No excuse today.
No excuse today. Yes. So, and you got to stay ready. That's one of the things that I'm learning in the morning meetup. Shout out to David Shands again. It's like you just got to stay ready and be very confident when you approach people and direct, and that's just my communication style. I'm not beating around the bush, okay?
No, definitely.
And if you don't want my product, well, that's okay, but you'll become a believer one day. So
Exactly. Facts. Look, period.
Yes.
No, this has been amazing. This has been super, super fun. We're going to wrap things up, but before we go, please let us know, where can we find you
online? Already?
Yes. We like to get them in and get them out. We like Wall Street. We in and out. We in and out. Would you say high D's? We in and out.
In and out. I love it. We're task oriented. I love that. Yes. So people can find me online at Instagram, Javonne.Steward. That's JAVONNE.STEWARD. And I made it so simple for you guys to find the website. No Excuse Today. That is excuse without the S.
Definitely. No, this has been fun. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next episode.